Hey people, it is Tuesday, September the 21st, and the time is 11:32 in the morning, and the temperature is 22 degrees Celsius. And I'm just here on Queen Street West in front of the Eaton Centre and the Hudson's Bay store, and also Saks Fifth Avenue. And I'll be walking east along Queen Street into the Moss Park neighborhood, and I'll be paying a little visit to the Kim's Convenience store from the now canceled TV show. But the store remains. It is a real convenience store. I think before the show, though, it had a different name, and then when they used that location and put up the new sign for the show, the owners of the store just decided to keep that sign there, and now that's basically the permanent name for the store. We're just crossing Yonge Street. I think the last time I did a walk down this part of Queen Street East, we were still in lockdown. So things are sure to be quite a bit more active now. And the weather is still quite warm. I think this is the last day of summer, I believe. There's a tinge of humidity in the air. There's a sign of normalcy. The sightseeing tourist buses are running once again. I guess they're going to go check out the sketchy part of town. That must be fun for the tourists. And that's where we're headed to. Down Bond Street. Man, I think this is the first time I've ever noticed the name of this street. Berkeley Street. If you would have asked me before now, where is Berkeley Street, I would have had no clue, even though I live right in this part of the city. But now I know. And you can see these businesses are all shuttered and papered up because this corner lot here is slated to be redeveloped with a new residential tower They will be preserving this old building on the corner, though, with the turret. That will be incorporated into development. And I think the other old storefronts will be too, actually. So that's good. Maintain some of the historic streetscape within the new development. And this is Church Street. And this is maybe the second sketchiest McDonald's downtown. Number one being the one at Queen and Spadina. I wonder if Shawarma's King will return, or if it's relocating elsewhere. That restaurant's been there as long as I can remember. Hopefully it isn't gone permanently. And of course this is another giant development underway here. You can see all these cranes. Downtown Camera. It's a popular long-standing camera store and very highly regarded. Yeah, I think a building over 50 stories will be rising right here. And I think another one behind it, a shorter one. And I've always liked this stretch of facades here. Some nice old historic architecture. Kind of gets overlooked. As much on the east side of downtown does get overlooked, much of the good stuff. And I'm not sure what's going to become of this. Oh, there's a notice for this corner as well, for a new tower. So there will be a line of new towers here from Church Street to here and to here. So this stretch of Queen Street East will be transforming quite a bit with new high-rise buildings. I wonder if this is part of this development, though. Because this is an awesome old building, 1875, Richard Bigley. I'll look at the plans for this one to see if that building is part of the development and if it will be retained or not. And I have a feeling it will be. A building of that vintage is unlikely to be demolished. Food truck.
You guys just gonna post up here for a little bit?
And here's Jarvis Street. See more construction cranes up ahead there. This side of downtown is really, it's going bonkers with new development. We're just passing by Moss Park and the Moss Park Armory right here. Let's look south down George Street. George Street does get interrupted here, but it resumes north of Shooter Street on the other side of the park. Another beautiful old building here. And here's a classic automobile. Could use a little body work. And we're approaching Queen and Sherborne. Looks like they're taking down some branches off this old tree here. It's a pretty big old tree. And here's the infamous Queen and Sherborne. Doesn't seem too busy right now. Might be a bit too early in the day. This corner can be very active with all sorts of interesting characters. Look south down Sherborne. And north. These are actually pretty nice old storefronts here. Just a little need of a sprucing up. The buildings are really quite outstanding. And I'm not sure what this used to be. Looks like it could have been an old bank. And look what we have across the street. We have found Kim's Convenience. So that will remain outlive the TV show. And no doubt it will draw some curious tourists and other onlookers to come and check it out. I do have a video from over a year ago, or going on almost 2 years ago now, where I went inside of there just to check it out, and it doesn't look like it does on the show on the inside. And here are the Moss Park apartments. These buildings don't have the best reputation, and somewhat deservedly so, I'd say. I do hear more than enough news stories about unfortunate incidents that take place in those buildings or nearby. Maybe I'll take a little shortcut through the Moss Park apartments here, up to Shooter Street. Parliament Street is just right up there, but I have done more than a few walks along that part of Parliament Street before. So this will be something a little different. And you can see the financial district. Cinema Roz, variety store and cafe. They sell movies there, or they rent movies. That's a dying business model. These are somewhat reminiscent of the projects that you see in like Chicago or in some of the boroughs of New York City. here's Shooter Street. And now we're coming back up onto Sherborne Street again. There's like a neat little network of alleyways that cuts through a lot of these blocks here. I've done a few videos walking through some of those alleyways. And they can be pretty interesting places sometimes. Eaton Street. And this old building is getting a makeover. Some new white cladding, kind of sprucing things up, as is the one next to it. They were looking very worn out and old and shabby. I see there's a proposal here for some intensification. They're going to add some new buildings in the spaces between these old ones. And there's Moss Park again. Sherbourne Street. So let's go north on Sherbourne Street. There's the Sherborne bus. It runs very frequently. Here you can see what the buildings look like before the new cladding. So the white definitely does brighten things up quite a bit here. I'm just not a fan of when they cover up bricks with stucco or something like that. Definitely not a fan of that. But in this case, they're just covering up exposed concrete. Old gray exposed concrete with new white cladding, so I'd say that's an improvement. Somebody lost their shoes. Or barely shoes. Is that proposal again? Free housing. That would be nice, wouldn't it, to have free housing? Unfortunately, I don't think that's reality. And I can see these buildings from my apartment window. So I guess my view will get brightened up a bit once the renovations are completed here. And here's Dundas and Sherborne. Well, I was going to go, but all of a sudden it turned yellow. And there's the True Love Cafe, which is no longer operating. It was there for a good 10 years at least, since I've been around this neighborhood. And I would never see anyone in there, and yet the business stayed open. And I always wondered what the deal was with that place. And I think it even had some good reviews online, but I had the feeling they were made up. So it's looking east, that's towards Regent Park there. And more shoes. And they even had their own website. I wonder if that's still operating. These buildings just are like a wall here from this vantage point. And I finally tried this Papa John's. I had never tried Papa John's pizza before. And this place is literally just up the street from my building. Never tried it. It's been here for years. So on the weekend I finally tried it. And I thought it was alright. You know, didn't knock me out or anything, but it was good enough. I ate an entire medium pizza in one sitting, so to me that means it was enjoyable. So I think this is where I'm going to wrap up the video actually. So I hope you enjoyed the walk, starting from in front of the Eaton Centre, right by Yonge and Queen, and then heading east along Queen, passing by Moss Park, and a look at Kim's Convenience, which is a real store. And then continuing through the Moss Park apartments to Shooter Street. And then continuing along Shooter and up Sherborne here to Sherborne and Dundas. So I hope you enjoyed, and leave a comment below. And like and share and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And be sure to hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos. And if you'd like to support the channel, there are links in the description where you can do so via PayPal and via my merch store. And you can also find me on Instagram under KContinuum. So thanks for watching, and be sure to keep checking back because, as always, I will continue.